Good morning. Hello. Gonna work on this little Kia Spectra5. Gonna put some new rear rotors, new rear shoes on. Just got some new rear pads. Gonna pop them on here. First thing to do, chalk up your tires. Safety first always. Go ahead and get it jacked up. There's the rotor we're gonna replace. Probably not 100% required to replace it, but it's got a little grooving going on. Could have got it machined. $15 to get it machined. $20 for the pads. Got a performance slotted and drilled replacement. Max Advanced brakes. Sweet deal. Shoes. Pads. $43. Got my jack under there. Got my jack stand. Safety always. Now, first thing, pull off the wheel. Gotta get that wheel off. Go ahead and pop it off. Righty tighty. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. So you need a little leverage sometimes. Sometimes they pop right off. I always recommend loosening these bolts before you jack the car up. The way to get that going is just a little leverage there with your foot. Alright, so now, next thing we gotta do, gotta get this pad off. You can see that pad's pretty worn. Get the flashlight here, make it a little easier to see. Go a little light on the subject. Alright, there's the old pad. Starting to make a little white wheezy grindy noise while it's rolling. Time to yank it off. So here we go. 14mm. Bolt's pretty tight. I have to put the phone down in order to film. I'm gonna go ahead and turn these wrenches. There's 2 bolts on top. Right here's one of them, and I got my wrench on the other. There's a matching pair underneath. I'm gonna pull those off, and we're gonna hang this using a rope or something to the suspension so that this brake line doesn't get a bunch of tension put on it, because the last thing I want to do is break something while we're trying to fix the car. Okay, so we got the top bolts off of my caliper here. Undone the parking brake. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull the caliper off. And as you can see, it's got threads, so it can't be pressed straight in. We're going to have to screw. And probably going to need the special tool, so I'm likely headed to AutoZone to go rent the tool. Anyway, we can continue with the removal of the rest of the pieces here. For the time being, I'm going to gently rest the caliper there. So now we've got this bolt down here, and it's on there pretty good. It needs a little extra motivation. So I'll add a little wrench down here, and wrong direction. And now we'll motivate that bolt to release gently. And one.
Got my cardboard down here so I don't make a big mess out of everything. And just pull this bolt off. And then he's got a counterpart on top. Just undo that. Just stop it. So there goes the
bolts. Here's the main caliper housing. Old pad's out. You can see here it's very thin. It was a little overdue. It also didn't wear evenly, so I guess it's a good thing getting new rotors on this guy. Now I get my screwdriver, and we will try to rotate. Doesn't want to budge, so get a little ball peen hammer. Tap it a little bit there, see if that can motivate it to release. Try to free up any tight threads. Oh, and it's still not pulling out. Gonna need a little motivation on this one also.
Down. It's on.
It's on? Okay, so now you can see this thing's freewheeling. So I'm gonna get a 4x4 block of wood here to help give me some leverage here. I'm gonna try to put some maximum pressure onto the screw, because until the screw breaks free, he's not going anywhere. Oh. Alright, so this screw is definitely troublesome. There it goes. Wrench, screwdriver. Push in so you don't accidentally strip any of the screw on the way out. Use the biggest screwdriver I've got. And voila! This guy should pop off. Can't quite get a bite on this one. On the other end, I really like a bolt on the other end. It should go pretty smooth and easy to the bottom out. Alright, there we go. And just kind of working back and forth. Okay, and using my bolt to drive it out. It worked. Success. Guy on here. Oh, isn't that pretty? Our screw hole lined up there. There it is. Right on the money. So now we can put our screw back in. Here's our handy dandy block again. Bad boy, it needs some tension. And we will apply that the same way we applied it putting it on. Alright, rotor's in place. Next step is going to be pushing that back in. Now, before we do that, let's check that brake pad thing. Alright, nice and free motion. Okay. Fantastic. The brake compressor tool. And the other piece. And turned it up too far. So let's see what happens here. That way it sticks. As with all car work, complications become encountered. So, got the nice tool, can't turn it in. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put maximum pressure on this thing and hope that it will just turn back in like a... Bring it back here. So I'm gonna have to do this bleeder valve a little bit. So right here's the bleeder valve. If you can see that. Takes a 10mm wrench. You pop the little plug off the end of it there. Oh. There we go. Oops. Like that. That's the relief. Alright, we got the rotor back on. Freewheeling. Press the pads back in. Got my disc quiet. And we want to keep this stuff as clean as possible. It's obviously not easy. Brake lubricant used to be blue, now it's gray. This is the same. So I'm going to put it on the contact edges. Alright, other side now. First side's reassembled, back on the ground, as you see.
got this axle off. I used the bolt to drive those extra holes to pull the old axle off. Got that flush, got that on there. Got my caliper mount back on there. Had to remove that nipple there and bleed some brake fluid out on this one to get it to drain. That seems to be the big trick. Now we got the new pads. Got my brake quiet on my surfaces that will be touching things. And here we go with the installation. Get my assistant to hold the camera for me. Get my gloves on. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the outer brake shoe. On this car there's a lip here. This is used to indicate to the driver when the brake pad is too worn. It goes on the inside. So I'm going to carefully try to avoid touching these. And pop this retaining clip in here. And then place this pad in. And we'll use this pad to hold the retaining clip in place. Second pad. Oops. Goes in here. And try to keep my head out of the way. But it ain't easy. Okay. Brake pads in place. And the caliper comes over and slides right over them. So we just got to compress these little pinions back in. Now, since I had to drain some of the brake fluid, definitely going to need to bleed the brakes. Once I get the car back on the ground, put a tube on top of that nipple there, and you loosen it when you push the brake in, and then tighten it when you let go of the brake. Make sure you go to the manufacturer's specification for the tightness on your brake bolts.
So you want to just come in loose when you're on the road. You got 40 to 50 pounds typically. Consult your manual to get it right. Give it a big pull. All four bolts hold this thing to the wheel drum there.
Cross. Hot lugs. Cross patterning. Alright, so now we got the new rotors installed. I haven't driven it yet. It's very important to break the rotors in the new pads. So what you want to do, find a nice clear road, not a lot of traffic. You want to do 5 aggressive stops quickly before anything can cool down at about from 45 miles an hour down to about 10. Don't stop. And then get back to speed quickly and hit the brakes again real hard. You want to do aggressive stops. And then do from 25 to a full stop about 5 times in a row, after letting it cool a little bit between stops. And that'll help break the pads in. You should be able to roll another 120,000 miles. Thanks, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helped. Peace.